Alright, quick video on setting up Newsjack. So these are 18 AI skills that turn any agent into a full PR team. So I open sourced this last week, and a lot of people have been asking, okay, how do I set this up? So here's a video that walks you through the setup to your actual first pitch. And here we go. So the first thing you're gonna do is go to Newsjack.sh. And this is where the project lives, where all the skills and the source code and all the updates, they're all public here. So when you scroll down, you can see there is an install instructions here, which is now essentially copy paste this prompt into any AI chat. So I'm using Claude for this. So you can like paste this in here and click send, and it will walk you through the setup. And if you prefer watching a video, so I'll show you how you can do that. So you would head over to the left hand side and click on customize. And then here you can install any Anthropic plugin. And right here, you would click on the plus sign and go over to create plugin and add a marketplace. And in here, you will click on add from a repository, which is a GitHub repository or a Git URL. And then now it will ask you for this URL of the project. So then you're gonna come back over here and copy this whole URL and paste that in here. And you're gonna click sync. So that basically finds this project, and you can click on the plus sign, and you can see that says Newsjack is installed and ready to use. So to verify it is installed, so you can click these it gives you a detail of what is actually installed. So now when you make a new chat, all right, so when you're on this page, click on the plus sign and over to plugins, you will see Newsjack brings in a bunch of skills that is already installed. So a second way is inside the chat box, type in a forward slash, and that will bring up all the skills that is available to you, including all the skills that we just installed. So I think the first thing we can do is probably the pr-strategist. And this is something really useful for your own brand. If you are a founder or if you're an agency, you can plug in a client's website. So for example, you can do, what's a good example? Let's do zapier.com. And then you can basically give a URL, and that will come up with a strategy after researching this website. And okay, let's do another example actually. I'll use myself as an example. So it doesn't have to be a website. So it could be, so it could also be like a paragraph. For example, okay, I can say, okay, I'm an AI engineer. How can I do PR for myself? And what's happening now is loading the skill. And so you can click on this and see what exactly that skill is asking the model to do. And you can also find the same thing under here. So here has skills, and then so everything is also open source here. So the same pr-strategist, you can find it over here at this file here. So by installing this, you get an exact copy of what's available online. And cool, so I can see, okay, it's naming some of my advantages and give me some positionings. has some interesting stuff. And so we can try another skill. So for example, we have like an angle generator. And here's an example I just wrote down. So like Fable 5 from Anthropic just shut down. So I actually was running it side by side with Opus. So I could potentially talk about the real comparison data on like how well it actually performed. I say like hypothetically, that's something we could talk about. So now it's going to use the angle generator to actually help me brainstorm some angles I can approach this story. So you can see it's actually searching the web and then coming back. What's some analysis? Let's see what it's asking. All right, interesting. So we have like builder who lost a production model overnight have no recourse. That's a real lesson. And what you actually lose. So these are some are kind of interesting. But yeah, so these are kind of like exploring a few options I can go about this story here. And then the next thing I can do is, let's see, it's suggesting that I can use the meanest editor skill to edit a pitch, but I don't have a pitch yet. But what I like to do is use the headline generator and then have it help me first come up with a few headlines, and then I can work backwards towards the actual story I want to tell. Let's see, let's pick one from here. I say that's the angle we are going with. And now you can see it's reading the headline generator skill that knows everything about coming up with a good headline that was a lot of steps. And then these are what it came up with. All right, cool. So right here we have a few different headline options that A suggested. And I think they're using a good format, and maybe if we provided with more than a one-line prompt, it would have written a meatier headline. But this is okay. So for the demo, just for setting it up, this is fine. So what we can do next is call the find journalist skill. And what's going to happen is that now it's going to go actually find journalists who can cover this topic. And so this is the part where usually the Claude or ChatGPT would hit a wall, because they don't have verified contact information for the journalists, and they're not able to look up the previous articles they have written or understand their beat. So they end up usually hallucinating contact information or give you someone who is not current. So to fix that, you need to connect it to a data source that can provide the agent with this information. And unfortunately, nobody else wanted to build this, so I decided to build one myself. So that is also bundled together inside this plugin. So now if you go back again to the Customize tab, so right here under Newsjack, you will see a connector. And what you do here is simply click Connect, and that will send you over to a page that connects your Medialist project. So this is a project I'm working on for full disclosure that power these agents for them to be able to perform a typical PR task. So you can see it can do things like enrich a journalist, get their contact information, and search the news. And so now I can come back here to this chat. I can just say connected, try now. All right, so it turns out after you make a connection, you need to refresh the page and make a new chat. So that's where we are at. So now I'm gonna call the same find journalist skill again and give it the entire chat history that we just had in the previous session. So we can just continue off where we left off. And cool, you can see that it has made a connection. Now it's using that to first search the news. And then second, it should be trying to look for the contact of the journalist. So I'm just gonna let this run for a little bit. And all right, cool. So now we have our list back. So we have a table here, and then we are starting with 5 journalists we can reach out to. Let's see, if we scroll to the right, and you can see it's coming back with their actual verified email addresses. And now from here, so there are a couple things we can do. So we can say, find me 10 more journalists who cover model releases like GPT or Opus, something like that, right? And then from here, it will actually keep going and then bring you back like more journalists from here, so you can kind of iterate and keep building your list from here. And the second option you can do is you can like call the other skills like the Mina's editor to actually review or roast a pitch you have, give you some feedback, and then you can improve it from there. So I'm not gonna get into that. I'll just let this run over here. And what I want to show you next is how do you set up an agent to run 24/7 to check the news for you. And so in my opinion, that is one of the biggest benefits of having an agent like this, because it can be on the lookout for you when you are sleeping. So I made this giant comparison table in terms of like which skill can run where, and it was actually way more complicated than I first expected. Yeah, so the TLDR is that to run a Newsjack detector 24/7, you need to have a machine that it can run on, which means that the typical website version, like the one we were using here, does not support running it for a very long time. So the options you have here are Claude Code, which is also included in the $20 plan that most people pay for. And Codex is the equivalent from OpenAI. And Hermes Agent, which is another open source project that is free to use, free to install. And OpenCloud is another project that is also open source. You can get that on your machine. And there are a lot of YouTube tutorials on getting these set up, so I'm not gonna walk you through each one of them. And since most people are already paying for Claude Code, so that's the one I will be showing you next. So I'll walk you through how you set up something to watch the news for you every day and bring you the opportunities. So we're gonna go over here and click on get install the desktop, and you can like download for your version of the machine and install it, and you will come back to something like this. So at the top left here, you will see like different chat, different modes. So the chat is essentially what I just showed you, but in a different window, where the code version is by far their most powerful flagship product that allows you to run really complex workflows. And that's where we will be doing this actual setup. So over here, you can do the same thing that we did before. So say install you can say, hey, install this for me. And because this is running on your machine, it's actually like really way more powerful than running it on Claude's chat window. So I can actually just do the installation for you. Okay, now you can see that, so they installed it already, completed successfully. And now what you can do is you can ask it, okay, set up you can say set up a daily monitoring for me. And actually I should give it more information here. So let's tell it who I am, what kind of things I'm looking for. And then run that at 8 a.m. every morning. Or you don't have to tell it everything up front. Usually it knows to ask you for information when it needs it. And yeah, and one more quick tip is to make sure you are actually on Opus, which is the smartest model. So definitely recommend it for any type of intensive knowledge work like PR, because the quality of output between this and a lesser model is just like very different. And same thing applies here. Like you can pick the thinking effort. So I will leave that high at least. And if you have more room in your usage limit, you can like put that extra or something higher. Yeah, and now you don't really have to do too much. I usually just do the setup for you and ask you any questions if it needs. I think we've got a lot of feedback on how the setup goes and improved it enough so that usually an agent can just follow it. And after setting it up, so you can see that it has done the setup, and then now it's doing like a real run to pull the live news. And then do the analysis and see what is actually relevant for today. All right, cool. So it looks like it did a test run. So it's asking me where I want to run this. So I would recommend Claude Code routine. That's probably what it would suggest for you, because we are like so deep into this process. The recommendation is actually more specific to me. But you can see like this model this has been running for like almost 9 minutes. And that's the thing between like Claude Code versus the regular chat, is that inside this mode, because it runs on your local machine, and they actually configure this to be able to run for a very, very long time. And sometimes I have this running for hours or even days. So you can do some really like complex things inside this mode that you typically cannot achieve. So I have a couple workflows that I will show you in the future. And you can do things like, for example, brainstorm some ideas. You have like 10 ideas and then send them to different agents to review them, look at them, kind of like think about them in different angles and come back and pick the best idea or things like that. And that's only things that you can achieve inside the like Claude Code, where in chat it's a little bit more limited. So that goes back to the same. Where did that go? It goes back to like this comparison table that I wrote. So that compares like all the differences between a regular chat, which is the first column, and the Claude Code, a more powerful chat that is inside this column. So you can see you can like pretty much set up to do everything you want to do, including monitoring the news to find opportunities to hop onto, and the coverage tracker that can help you track the coverage for your company or your client. And yeah, so coming back here, so let's see. And so it looks like it has finished the setup, and then did a test run and generated a report. So now we can ask it, show me the report you got. Oh, no, okay, that was here. I totally did not read it. And all right, cool. So now it has this nice report for me. So it has like the pitch ready one. I think this is very relevant to the persona I give it, which is an AI engineer that compares different models. And right here, there are also big stories worth looking into. So at the top, it has a few angles that it already suggested for me using the same like story angle skill that it has access to. And then here are some big stories for us to look into, or potentially I think a very good PR person can probably come up with a way to get into this story. And down below here are some somewhat related stories for us to watch, and potentially they might develop into something bigger. And now this is also configured to run every morning. So you can imagine every morning, I set it up to run at 8 a.m. every morning. So I will be getting a report like this that tells me, okay, what are the top stories that we could potentially chase today? And what are some other things we should be watching? And you can do this like for each individual client. So you can imagine like kind of getting like 10 reports. And from there, you can ask it to like, help me format this into a nice PDF, and it will do that for you. And I probably need to kind of polish that into another skill, but that's a story for another time. All right, and coming back to this chat here. So it was working on like building the journalist list. And then now it's coming back with a few more names, and you can see what's the email address for each one, and that we can reach out to. So now you can like work on the pitch here, draft it, edit, get feedback, and then actually send those emails. So I won't walk you through all of that, since most of you already know how to do that better than I do. And so the same thing you can do here. So you can like type a slash and then call any of the skills that I showed you. So there's like the angle generator. You can get like a like the headline generator, or like find journalists. So all of that works the same way inside Claude Chat or inside Claude Code. So don't get too intimidated by the name, because I know for a fact that a lot of SEO agencies, they're using it to run their SEO. Like content teams are using this to power their content. So this is like way beyond just like people who know how to code. Plus, in 2026, you don't really need to know how to code to write software. And cool, so I'm gonna leave it at that, and you can come here and check out all the other skills we have. And let's see, I think there are a couple interesting ones. So these are like small building blocks. For example, I think the newsworthiness check, it's kind of boring, but it's like such a foundational piece of skill for the agent to understand. Because one common issue is that like AI thinks everything is news, but if you like pursue down that avenue, like it's gonna end very badly because you don't want to pitch anything that's not actually newsworthy. So you can like combine different set of skills and make them into a more interesting workflow. So I'll be like kind of publishing more stuff as I go and as I get recommendations. And if you have any questions, just drop them in the comment and I'll try to reply to them. And thanks so much for watching and checking this out. All right, bye.